Good morning. My name is Maria Sirois. I'm an inspirational speaker and clinical psychologist, and I'm here this morning to talk to you about the notion of signature strengths, which is a keystone in the world of resiliency. How do we amplify our resilience so that we can move forward through whatever it is we are facing in a way that is positive and life-enhancing, life-energizing for us? Now, probably you, like me, had a teacher at some point in elementary school. Maybe it was your kindergarten teacher or your preschool teacher or your third grade teacher who was really good at saying, "Oh, you are such a great child, you are so talented, or you are so smart, or you are so kind, or you're really good at cleaning up, or you're really good at making things," right? We all had a teacher who at one point or another was gifted in that way, in the way of recognizing our strengths. We forget this as we age. We forget to remind ourselves of our strengths. And interestingly enough, strengths, the knowledge of our strengths, actually helps us move forward in a much more positive way than we can ever imagine, as long as we hold on to them. So, here's what we need to do. I invite you to take a moment now, maybe a little bit later, sit down quietly with yourself, quiet all the external voices and the internal voices, and ask yourself this question. What are the gifts, the talents, the values that I have that truly speak to who I am as a unique individual? Right? We all have strengths. We forget to lean on them when times are difficult. So the first step is to ask yourself that question. What are my strengths? The second step is then to quiet all the voices around you that have an opinion about your strengths. I mean, we all have a family member who's very clear about who we should be or who we ought to have been all along the way. Some of us are in relationship with people who have a feeling about our strengths, right? But the key in terms of strengthening resiliency is to be very clear for ourselves about what our core organic gifts are. So the trick is, once we've identified our strengths, is to figure out how to apply them no matter what the stressor is. So here's an example of a minor stressor. I often find myself in a line that takes way too long, that moves too slowly, that's brushing up against my need to get somewhere else quickly, right? So this could be, the motor vehicle line, the line at Stop and Shop, the Home Depot line. It doesn't matter, but it happens every now and then, and I find myself in that line, and I'm getting irritable. And I'm getting anxious. And in my irritable, anxious state, I am not having fun. I am certainly not relaxed, and I'm not calling forward anything that's actually going to help the situation. In fact, I'm probably making it worse. I quiet myself down internally. I think for a second, wait a minute, I've got strengths, let's bring them to bear. And I remember that I actually have a sense of humor. I also remember that life is important to me, and I don't like to be wasting time. So I found myself not so long ago in a line, in feeling absolutely frustrated and crotchety, and I turn to the person behind me and say, "So, what's the dream of your life?" Which is an absolutely ridiculous question in that kind of moment, except it changed everything. It changed everything. It didn't change the line. We were still moving slowly. The stressor was still there. It changed who I was in that moment. You see, when we lean on our strengths, it reminds us who we are. We then begin to feel in control of life, which is a key characteristic of resilient folk. We then begin to actually think more clearly because the sense of stress is reduced just enough to allow in the possibility for change. That in that moment, we could actually change a moment of great frustration into a moment of connection, of a little humor, a little sharing, a little respite from the frustration. Right? That's just a minor example. For a major example, think of Christopher Reeve's post-spinal cord injury. He brought forth for us a great sense of perseverance and tenacity, and also a sense of generosity. He was not in recovery just for himself. He was in recovery and out there in the world on behalf of all of us who are suffering in a similar way. So it doesn't matter what the stressor is. What matters that is in the moment of stress, we lean on our strengths and bring them forward. Our strengths may be as diverse as kindness, compassion, appreciation of beauty, tenacity, generosity, creativity, a sense of faithfulness in the world, a sense of justice, loyalty, the capacity to be vulnerable, the capacity to be competitive, the capacity to change a moment by standing forward and speaking the truth. All of those are strengths. I encourage you to take some time, perhaps later today, sit quietly, ask yourself what your strengths are. List them, name them, hold on to them, put them on a piece of paper, and the next time a stressor comes, go there. Lean there. They will bring you into yourself, and from that place we can actually begin to make the changes that we need to make in order to have the moment be all that it can be for us. I wish you well.